Hey, pilot, welcome to Ready for Pushback. I'm Nick Fialka. It's an interview show. Today's guest is my podcast producer, Tommy Prestella. And our conversation is all about getting out of the Air Force and going to fly for the airlines and Shark Tank, which is cool as hell. So I hope you like it. It's a great conversation. Stick around to the end because you don't want to miss that part, okay? So sit back, relax. Let's get ready for Pushback.
It all started as a spark. Maybe it was the sound of jets racing across the sky. Or the feeling of your heart racing as you watch a crop duster flying low and slow. Even then, you knew you were meant to fly. For pilots, it's more than just a job. It's a calling. The early mornings, the long hours, the relentless training. You didn't do it for the money. You did it for that moment. That moment when the wheels lift off and the earth falls away beneath you. But flying is just the beginning. The journey to your dream job takes more than just skill in the sky. It takes strategy on the ground and a lifetime of learning.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. Learn how to go from good to great, from flight school to regional to major, and from hopeful to hired. Whether you're sharpening your skills, building your resume, or preparing for that big interview, this is where pilots come to level up. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
All right, Tommy Prestella in the house. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, doing well. Happy to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
That is absolutely not true. So that's so funny because Tommy is my podcast producer, and I am so excited. You're the first producer I've had on the show. No, I think you're the second producer. But you have such a fun story, and I thought it would be great. Dude, thank you for coming on with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So why don't you tell the pilot at home a little bit about your aviation background, my man?
Yeah, so I'm I guess what we title a transitioning military officer. So I'm coming up on my 20-year point in the Air Force, and I'm getting ready to retire. So I did 20 years as a C-130 pilot. With a short stint in the E-11 Battlefield Airborne Communications Node, which is really just a Global Express with a bunch of equipment in the back. And I've been fortunate enough to be a skill bridger with Spitfire Elite Consulting. I was a customer, and I got this invitation to be a skill bridger, which is basically an intern for the company working for guys like Nick Fialka. And that's kind of what brings me here today.
Tell me about flying the Herc, flying the C-130. What was your mission, and if I have dreamed about flying the C-130 Hercules, tell me about it.
Well, first of all, it's the most beautiful, sexy aircraft that was ever created by God.
It is too, isn't it?
It really is. But as far as the mission, it's threefold in the C-130. It's air land, so landing on the tiny dirt strip in the middle of nowhere. It's air drop, dropping supplies and people to drop zone X or bringing the mail to the Army. And then it's aeromedical evacuation, so getting good guys out of harm's way after they're hurt. The C-130 kind of chose me. They always say hey, don't pick your airplane, pick the culture, pick where you want to be. And so I got an early taste early in my career of being around C-130 guys and gals, and that's just where I decided to be. And the plane is I call it a Jeep Wrangler with wings. I mean, it really is the go anywhere, do anything airplane for the Air Force. So if the Air Force had Bush pilots and a Bush airplane, it would be this airplane, the C-130. It has been so much fun.
When you talk about short landings, how short are we talking?
So we're talking about a 500-foot box. So the wheels got to touch down in the box, and then a 2,500-foot rollout zone. So min runway size is 3,000 feet. And your told is critical. So the plane stops on a dime, but you got to stop in that box, or the math says you could go off the end of the runway. So it's super critical to be what we call in the zone, the landing zone.
Is it like 4 big blades in beta, and like you got big chunky brakes on there, and you're just stomping on them?
Yes, yes. So the props, they go all the way back, full reverse, full beta, and then we have just real beefy carbon fiber brakes. And when you get on that anti-skid, you're stopping. You're stopping real fast.
Well, don't do that at the airlines, okay?
Okay. Note taken. Thank you.
That's my only tip. That's the only tip I have for the airlines. So you did that, and then you switched to the E11. And where are you flying this thing? Or is it you're like give me a little background on that.
So the E11, where are we flying it? Probably can't say on this sort of venue because it does do some secret listening type stuff and communication stuff. But the best way to probably explain it is like a flying cell phone tower. So we're not just doing cell phone calls, though. We're doing things to enhance the capability of fighter jets that are below us. We're usually very high, and we're doing beyond line of sight communications relay.
How did you fall into that, and why did you decide to leave the C-130?
Well, it was a one-time deal, volunteer deployment. So how did I fall into it? I volunteered. I was getting to a point in my career, maybe you've been there in your Navy career, where you feel like the one-year deployment monster is knocking at your door. And I was like, well, I'd rather choose my destiny than have it chosen for me. And so I actually sought out the opportunity. And how cool, right? You get a Global Express 6000 type rating and a ton of hours flying a sports car. So like I had the Jeep Wrangler and I took out the Ferrari for 6 months. And it was a lot of fun. And so I finished that deployment and then I just went right back to the C-130.
That's cool. So you spent 6 months flying that thing.
Correct.
Did you get to earn a lot of hotel points or not earn hotel points?
I did not earn very many hotel points. No, I proud to say I am a Hilton Honors Diamond member, but it didn't matter on this.
Yeah, you know the hotel points at the end of a deployment really tell you about how arduous or not so arduous this thing was. I don't know if I've ever gotten any hotel points in my whole life, but that's okay.
Yeah. Unless there's hotel points for sleeping in a 50-man tent that I don't know about, then other than that, no.
Big tents are super fun to fly in, and they got the pallet floors. Those are fun. I like those.
Yep.
The best is the cold showers that like there's never any hot water and it's like frozen. It's great. The Herc flying. Are you guys deploying? How does your deployment cycle work? Because if somebody's in the Navy or the Marines, like their deployment cycles are very different than how you guys do it.
In the Air Force, it's really just contingency dependent what's going on in the world. So we like to say that the U.S. Army is our customer. So there's always that demand from the Army to go do JATs, which consist of maybe going to Fort Benning, Georgia, and dropping the folks at the jump school there, or going to Fort Polk, or moving the Army's equipment from point A to point B. So it really depends. And then obviously the C-130 is a high demand asset. So anytime something's going off in the world, they want C-130s close by. We talk about like different kinds of airlifts, like the big boys, the C-17s, the C-5s, they do what we call like intercontinental airlifts. So they're doing those really long legs, those big muscle movements. But once things and people get to whatever theater they're going to, you need C-130s to do the intra-theater airlift to really move stuff to its final destination. So, but it really just depends on what's going on in the world.
Yeah, it's like the Amazon model, right? Like they have the semi trucks taking it between the warehouse, but then that last mile is that little Rivian thing, and that's the C-130.
Exactly.
Except it burns a ton of gas.
Yeah.
Story for another day, but I did some work with some C-130s, and we had to pre-position gas in different places, and golly Moses, it was so much money.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Tell me why you decided it's time to retire at 20 years.
Well, for me, it was always the goal, right? So I came in wanting to do 20 years, and so I had the opportunity to keep going, but I kind of saw the writing on the wall of what that would entail, and really, like once you start looking at progressing in rank, maybe you say to like 06 or full bird colonel. There's a lot of moves that come with that. You're talking about going to another professional military education, moving there, then moving to a staff job a year later, and then maybe they throw a rank at you. And now they're like, well, you just promoted. Now we need you to move again. And so I saw that mix of writing, and I was thinking about my wife and my kids. And then, I got one coming up on high school who loves sports. My wife's a teacher in the school district that we live, and I was like, I met my goal. I can't do that to them. It's just time.
Yeah, that's the other part of the thing that you talk about the staff job and going to the school and poking your eye out for 18 months and all those other things. You're also missing out on that 401k, and you're at 20 years, you're at like 42, 43 years old ish. And you have this horizon and this time value of money that's just about 25 almost years. And it is, at least if you went to the airlines. And so maximizing that is a balance, because for people, there's probably like one person right now that's listening that's trying to figure out if they want to retire. And so I challenge you, like you can go online and figure out how many points you have and and what your retirement is going to look like, 05 with however many years, or an 04 at 20, or and how long should I stay and how much money is that? And then factor in the value of TRICARE, and then, but then compare that to if you get out at 20 and you go to the airlines, you're going to have less retirement money. However, the pay that by year 2, you already well surpassed whatever 06 money they could throw at you. And then after that, and in your 401k and all the things that are just starting to pace down the road. However, there is also risk associated with that, because if something turns bad and they start furloughing, then you could be facing man, maybe I shouldn't have left so early. And so that's a tricky math problem. Did you and your wife, was it easy, or did you guys hem and haw about it?
It was pretty easy for us. And then to your point, that was also, the airline industry was another huge consideration. So the getting's been good for the last year or so, and it's trending that way for 2026, if I'm not mistaken. So with it being such a cyclical industry, and what you already kind of mentioned about just those two time value curves, and seniority being everything in the airlines, it's like, well, let's get our foot in the door and make the switch.
Yeah, maybe I should make a shirt that says it's time to punch out. The getting is good. That would be amazing. That the getting's been good for about 2 years. That's a great line. That's my favorite one so far. Good job, Bob. Okay, so you're getting out. Have you interviewed anywhere?
I have. I've interviewed at one, one mainline carrier, and I got a CJO.
Did you interview a year before you got out? Did you, I guess what I want to talk about is give me the process for preparing for all this and your time horizon. If you're trying to get out at 20 years, which is whatever day, how do you work your way back from that?
I'd say if you're getting out at 20, I'd say you need to be actively moving at about the 18-year mark, especially if you're going to utilize United's United Military Pilot Program. To be eligible for that program, you have to be beyond a year from retirement or separation. So if you're at 366 days to go and you haven't put an ounce of effort into preparing your applications, your resumes, you're way behind. So that's why I say start about 2 years to go, about the 18-year mark, and really start digging into that resume, getting your hours organized, linking up with an interview coaching company like Spitfire, and really start putting in the hours so that you're ready to go. In my case, I interviewed a year and a half prior to my actual out date. So I interviewed in January of 2025, and here we are in January 2026, and I got 6 months to go.
One of the trickier parts of leaving the military, and I guess today's kind of a military centric show. There's so much to do. You have your job, which is whatever, and at 24 months before you leave, there's nobody there to replace you. So you have this job, and then all of a sudden, now you actually have 3 jobs because you have your squadron, you have to get out of the military, and you have to find a new job. So those are 3 things, no stress whatsoever. And I'm sure there were no sleepless nights of what ifs or, man, am I even going to be good enough or any of that? And it seems really stressful, but I think that what advice do you have for somebody all right, I'm 24 months out. I got to start figuring things out. Is there a checklist you use? Did you write stuff down? What did you do? Hey, pilot, did you just get a new conditional job offer? Are you getting out of the military and you're going to move your family across the country? Did you decide to finally stop commuting and move in base? Or maybe you decided it's just time to look for a second home. Well, before you do, listen to this. Trident Home Loans is an organization that's run by pilots. They understand pilot pay, they understand union contracts, they understand the military, and they have the best VA loan rates in the nation. Marty and his team have been doing mortgages for years. Heck, they've been doing my mortgages for years. I trust him and his team more than any other organization, and I challenge you to get a better deal anywhere else. Go ahead, get a mortgage quote anywhere. Then reach out to Marty and his team. They'll walk you through the process, show you how competitive their rates really are. So go right now to TridentHomeLoans.com and check them out. Tell them Nick sent you.
Well, you're absolutely right. You're juggling a lot of pins. For me, what I did was knowledge is power, right? Know that it's going to be a lot of hard work, right? So start early. That's the biggest thing I could say. Start early. And then, I had the luxury in my line of work, and maybe a lot of other guys and gals do as well, is that they have people that go before them. And so you got to get the gouge, as we say. Find those people, talk their ear off. What went well, what didn't, how should I skin this cat, what was the chronological order and sequence of things that you did things. There are checklists out there. You could probably just Google, military 1 year out retirement checklist, and it's going to talk you through all the VA appointments and, signed up for LinkedIn premium and, start getting your name and your face out there and all those little things. But I didn't do any of that. I just really just word of mouth, talking to people. And again, I can't overemphasize just starting early.
Yeah. And I do think that it's important to detail to yourself, go dive down the rabbit hole and figure out what documents that each airline is going to want to see, because your logbook is just part of it. And first off, that is one of the biggest lifts, is getting that organized and tidy. Did you do a digital logbook? Do you just have paper logbooks? Do you just print sharp stuff out? What are you doing?
Well, yes, I agree 100%. The logbook was a bear, getting it organized, because if you in a big 121 interview, if you can't explain your hours, you're not giving a warm fuzzy that you even know how you got those hours or if those are your hours. So starting early in terms of talking to your aviation resource management office or whatever you have wherever you work, and gathering documents and then being able to tell the story is huge. So for me, I do use a third party logbook, online logbook company, and I was able to upload my entire military hours logbook to them. And the great thing about it is that they were able to take all the trons in there that I uploaded in a big scan, and they have, AI technology and algorithms and what have you. And they were able to spit it back to me in a format that was clean. And you could even select, by drop down, an airline hour sheet for how they like to see the hours presented at interviews. So for me, that was a huge time saver, but even still, it took a lot of time.
Did you also, you have to dig up, some of them you have to dig up training records. You have to bring in your evaluations and all this other stuff. And sometimes if you miss one, right? Because for us in the Navy, they're all uploaded to this website, and you can hop on that website and pull it up, and it's a mess, but you can figure out how to get all your documents to print out. But if there's a gap in one of those, or one document is missing, it can take up to 6 months to make the recommendation to the organization. Hey, there's an error. Can you please upload this and that? And if you're trying to interview for your job and you don't have this one document, it's a big mess. And I say that mostly because it happened to me, and also I'm not very good with paperwork. So I'm sure Air Force people are super organized, because it seems like paperwork is a big part of the Air Force. But that's tricky. I don't know. Did you have any experiences with that?
I did. And then just, in the process of 20 years, right? How often do these resource management, like these hours trackers programs, switch just within the military? I know in the Air Force, they've done 3 migrations to different hours tracking systems, and none of them talk to each other. And so it's almost every time there's that transition, there's almost a drop off of whatever there was before, or at least that's a risk, right, that you run, or there's a gap somewhere between the two. So it is super important to go through your records, whether they're hard copy or whatever you have, with a fine-tooth comb, and look for those omissions or gaps or errors, and then start working with whatever controlling agency that you work with, that, at least in the military, that watches over your hours to get that stuff rectified.
Yeah, it is so tricky. It is absolutely maddening. And when I went to my interview, I had 3 copies of everything just in case, and I was the most OCD I think you could ever see me, of just going through everything individually every single day to make sure, are you missing anything? I had multiple checklists all over the place, and just trying to make sure that everything was tight. And I think that, there's a lot at stake. So you want to put your best foot forward, and you want to come with the smallest speed bumps you possibly can. And I think that's kind of the moral of the story.
Absolutely.
Did you do any conventions? Did you show up anywhere?
I did not. I would have liked to, just to get a taste of that flavor, but I was fortunate enough that I did the UMPP program, which I'm a huge advocate for. It's very streamlined, very tailored to the military member. Luckily we hit one out of the park with that right away. So no, have not had a chance to go to any in-person seminars.
Indeed. Well, good job. Congratulations. So I want to kind of save the best for last, because this is the part so you've been working on the show. You've been helping produce the show and do work with the editing team and everything. And when you came on, you and I were chatting on the phone, and I was talking about my little bit of entrepreneurial spirit, and you brought up a crazy thing that happened to you. Why don't you tell the pilot what you did?
Well, I have the entrepreneur bug as well. I think a lot of pilots do. And so back in 2014, I started a business called Pickup Pools, and it's basically, as it sounds, it is a swimming pool for the bed of a pickup truck. And so it was just a little side hustle I had for a while, and then one day I got this crazy idea that I'm going to go on Shark Tank.
Hi, Sharks. My name is Tommy Prestella, and I'm an Air Force pilot from San Dimas, California. I'm here today seeking $100,000 for 25% of my company. Now, Sharks, I love summer days as much as the next guy. What's not to love, right? I mean, backyard barbecues, evening baseball games, I love it all. But Sharks, there's one thing about summer that I just really don't like.
Uh-oh.
It's freaking hot. And if you've been stationed in the deep south like I have for the last 12 years, or deployed overseas to Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, you know that those places get crazy hot. I got sick and tired of sweating through my clothes every time I stepped outside and just always being uncomfortable. So I fused together a creative way to stay cool and beat the summer heat. Sharks, you guys ready to cool off?
Yeah. Sure we are.
Introducing the one and only pickup pool. Sharks, as you can see, the pickup pool is the ultimate truck bed swimming pool. This patented pool liner instantly transforms the bed of your pickup truck into an above-ground pool. Simply pull the corners of the pickup pool over the corners of your truck bed, add water, and bam, you're ready for a pool party. When you're done, there's a drain at the back. You can drain the water without lowering your tailgate.
I like it.
Now, Sharks, the pickup pool is a brand new product in an untapped market. So what do you say? Who wants to go for a swim and make a deal with pickup pool?
I had a lot of fun with it. Made a deal with Mark Cuban, which if you found like 10 years ago me and told me you were going to make a deal with Mark Cuban, a business transaction, I would have laughed at you. But yeah, made a deal with Mark on the show, and the rest, as they say, is history.
And you had your wife and your best friend like in swimsuits in the back of a truck, like drinking beers. That was amazing.
Yes. So the producers kind of like put the ball in your court to say like, hey, what do you want to have on the show? Because if you've watched Shark Tank at all, there's usually some sort of mock-up or gimmick. And I was like, well, could I just bring a truck on the stage? And they're like, absolutely. So it's my brother-in-law's truck on the show because they lived in Southern California where they record. And we found a creative way. We found like a hose spigot out in the studio parking lot and filled it up and drove it onto the set of the show there.
Oh, you drove it with water in the pool.
Very, very slowly and carefully. Notes, warnings, and cautions, right? Do not operate the vehicle with water or occupants in the bed of the truck. It could be a health hazard.
I hope when you left, you guys did a burnout off the stage. That'd be amazing.
No, it would have been cool.
Just water all over Mark. Like, okay, so you were on Shark Tank, which I think is amazing. And you came up with this idea. Everybody should watch the video. It's very cool. It'll kind of tell you everything about it. But you came up with this idea. But then somebody decided, like, how did you go down the path of, because you hadn't sold very much when you went and made the deal, and that was kind of the crutch of the whole conversation, which I thought was awesome. And they're like, the idea is so damn good that we're in. So that's very cool. What led you to go and just like roll the dice for the Shark Tank world?
Well, I don't think anybody starts a business with the intention of like, I'm going to start a business and go on Shark Tank, right? You kind of arrive there at that conclusion. And for me, I had hit this. I knew I had something. I knew I had a spark, right? Like I had a business, and it was growing legs. But I was also full-time active duty military. I was heading into squadron command leadership position, and so like I genuinely needed help. Right. And so I hit this point where it's like, all right, I don't know what to do with my hands anymore. Like, how do I get this thing into the next level? Right. So there's typically 3 people that go on Shark Tank, 3 types of entrepreneurs. The one that's like got a good business and they're just like the financials are terrible and they need a bailout. There's another that's like, hey, I'm just here. I don't even care if I make a deal. I'm just here for the free commercial. I'm already rocking and rolling. And then like the third is like people who just really need help like me. And so like I carried that humility into the show. And I think there's a lot of parallels between like interviewing at like a big 121 job and like being on Shark Tank. Like, my sales were terrible. Right. So I didn't like shy away from that. I figured out, well, like, how do I like Spitfire Elite Coaching talks about falling forward. Right. So it's like, hey, how do I take my negatives and turn them into positives? Right. How do I take like a check ride failure and turn that into something that I learned and emphasize how that's never going to happen again, right? And so like in my prep work, I just like, I watched every episode of Shark Tank that I could, right? So I was reading the trip reports, if you will. Like, what are the questions that they can ask me? And I had like just pages upon pages of questions that I could be asked, and I had a response for everyone. And so, yeah, preparation and rehearsal is key. Whether you're going into Shark Tank or if you're going into an airline interview. And like, I can't emphasize enough how the two are very similar. They're both, let's face it, like opportunities of a lifetime, right? But the last thing you want to do is like leave something on the table or have regrets. And so I was like, man, I'm just going to prepare my butt off. And then the day before the check ride, I'm going to turn my brain off and I'm just going to have fun with it tomorrow. And that's what I did.
I love that. I always associate Shark Tank with Scrub Daddy, which is the it's what is that damn thing? It's a sponge.
It's a
sponge.
Anyway, that guy's rocking and rolling because he sold it, right? He absolutely sold it.
He made a cajillion dollars. And but I do love, like, I feel like the pilot, like so many pilots have the entrepreneurial spirit, and I love that you just brought it full force and you succeeded. Like Mark Cuban's like, hell yeah, let's go. Because I think when I watched it, like he invested in you. He didn't invest in the product. Like he's like, this guy's awesome, and that's what I took away from it. Just watching you, and I haven't talked about it, but it seemed like he really dug you, and you were just so confident and you know, got a fresh haircut and all the things. Like it was really good. Now you got real long hair, comparatively. But what advice do you have for somebody that wants to do Shark Tank?
Go for it. You know, is at least talking about like entrepreneurial pilots. Like I like to say you're not just a pilot. You're a professional, right? Like flying airplanes, like mandates professionalism. And that professionalism, like it transcends so many different genres, like business, right? So, you know, pilots, we're checklist thinkers. We like have an end goal, and we work backwards from that. Whether it's, you know, how am I going to do this descent, you know, or how much fuel do we need, right? We work backwards, and so you could take that to a goal, a business goal, and then you could start making your checklist and working backwards and knocking those things out, and you'd be surprised. Just what you know from being an aviator, how far ahead you actually are in the world of business. You could actually do a lot. Just look at the founders of Spitfire Elite. They're all pilots that had that bug, and now they're, you know, I'd say the creme de la creme of interview coaching.
Well, thanks. Did you bring it up in your interview where you're like, and then I was on Shark Tank?
I didn't want to do that, and so they brought it up. They brought it up. So I snuck it on it's like at the bottom of my resume, like other awards, achievements, and like, you know, I just put it like real small at the bottom. You know, I didn't want to like come out with that, you know, have this big disgusting flex, like, oh, by the way, I was on Shark Tank, so you should, you know.
What did the guy say? Tell me. He was like, what the? So
the interview was over, and they told me as much. Like, all right, interview's over, you know. So anything else for us? I'm like, no, I really appreciate the time. Thanks for having me. Really excited for this opportunity, type of thing. And they're like, they both like lean forward and they're like, Shark Tank? So the cat was out of the bag there. And we talked about it for a little bit, and then that was it.
I love that. Dude, I love a low-key, like, sneaking something into a resume. At the conferences, we do resume reviews, and, man, at least one person will, like, blow me away with some, like, sneak attack thing that was put in there that I'm like, holy crap. Like one dude went to Oxford. I was like, what? And, like, Matt, the poker player. I'm like, you're a professional poker player? Like, what in the world? And it just is. You want Shark Tank? What the heck? It is so cool. There's so many. I met somebody that had won a Grammy. Like, it's like, what in the world? I guess everybody's got to do something amazing, and that's it. And that's like all the pilots like keep all the amazing things to themselves, and I love that. So I'm glad they talked about it in your interview. I'm sure it really made you feel good at the end of it. And buddy, what a fun thing. That is amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun,
man. Well, look, dude, I appreciate you. I appreciate you working on the show. I know how much work you do, and you are a significant part of this podcast, and I'm thankful for you. Thank you for agreeing to come on the show and talk about this, because I am such a fanboy, and I think you're just so cool. I've been telling everybody I know all about you, and they're like, no shit, let's go meet this guy. I'm excited for you to just get going. You got 6 more months before you start your 121 job, so sit back and relax, and don't go into work anymore. Just hang out.
All right. Well, thank you for having me today. It's pretty cool. This is my assigned duty location for the U.S. military. So thank you.
All right, pilots, that's a wrap on this episode. And I know what you're thinking. You need to make yourself a little bit better. So how do you make yourself a little bit better? You tighten up your resume. So here's what I want you to do. Go over to my website, spitfireelite.com/podcast, and you can download my free resume template. It is tight, organized, and it's the perfect pilot resume. It's just something I like to do for the pilot group, and it is free to you. So go over there, spitfireelite.com/podcast, and download your free resume template. While you're over there, look at all the services that we offer. Lots of great interview prep, lots of great application review. Everything you need to be a professional pilot is right there. spitfireelite.com/podcast. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next episode.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute professional advice. The producers and sponsors make no representations or warranties regarding the accuracy, completeness, or applicability of the content.